I'm serious. Come on, Fuzz. I'm kidding.
Alright.
Ooh, bacon.
Greetings, tasty morsels. It's Reverse BLT. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are starting a brand new series, something that's been hotly anticipated for a very long time, actually, since before anyone ever even thought that something like this would happen. People have been wanting this, I think. I have been a Halo fan since the very first Halo Combat Evolved. Oh, I forgot to bring it with me. I was going to show you guys. I have the helmet that came with Halo 3 Special Edition. I do know now, one of you guys commented when I did a reaction to the trailer that they were doing a different timeline that they're calling the Silver Timeline. And I looked a little into that to find out A, whether that was an actual thing, and B, what it entailed. And so yeah, because I noticed in the trailer that there was one huge difference that I was like, wait, this is definitely not even remotely part of this story, which was that it appeared that there was a human being, at the very least a humanoid, who is a member of the Covenant and seems to be a high-ranking member of the Covenant. And that obviously introduces several changes to several elements of the story. So I'm curious to see how they handle that. As you guys know from, I assume several of you probably watched my reactions to The Wheel of Time, I approach adaptations with a bit of an open mind. There are definitely things that I will notice and I'll probably point out. It doesn't necessarily mean I hate the adaptation, it just means that I noticed that they changed something and I'm pointing it out. Sometimes I'll point it out because I don't like it though, you know. Sometimes I'll point it out because I do like it. But the main question I always try to ask myself when I see something that changed a lot in an adaptation is, what possible benefit could this have for making the story more accessible in this format to a larger audience? And how does it affect the overall themes? Because I think the themes are the things that you really have to worry more about being destroyed. Because you can always get characters to the same place, even if you change some of how their journey goes, you know? That said, when I did watch the trailer, aside from, you know, when I got to like see people's reactions anyway, like the things that I noticed that people were complaining about were not the things that I expected. Because for instance, like I said, the thing that really stuck out to me was this human who's part of the Covenant. I expect everybody to be going nuts about that because that is an actual major change to the story. But people were complaining about things like Cortana not being glowing blue. Because she was bluish, but she wasn't like, you know, lit up blue. And they were complaining about, you know, I don't think you even had it in that trailer, but they were complaining about later trailers, which I usually only watch the teasers because I don't want to see too much about a show before it airs. But people were complaining about Master Chief not having the exact same voice as the video game. And they were, which I was like, it's okay if he's still in the same relative ballpark, which is just, you know, he's got to sound kind of gruff and maybe a little weary, but he doesn't need to sound exactly the same. That's okay. And they were complaining about the absence of the classic choral Halo theme. That one I actually chalked up to something that I actually think I might have done myself, which is that for me, I always associate that theme not so much with, I know a lot of people associate it, the orchestral part or the choral part with Halo as a franchise, but for me in universe, it always felt like it was about the ring. So I expect that if we hear that theme, it will be when we see the Halo array for the first time. Because that's what that, to me, that's what that theme evokes. It evokes that kind of sense of alien, otherworldly, ancient, unknowable thing. You know what I mean? And so I didn't want it. I actually didn't. It didn't bother me that it wasn't in the trailer, because the trailer was focused very much on the present, or at the present time of the story, events going on with Chief and his team, and Halsey and the rebellions and all these other things, and the beginning of the contact with the Covenant, but not like the Ring. So I will admit that if we go through this entire series and we do see the rings and we don't get that amazing, awe-inspiring theme or something very similar to it, then yeah, I'll be a little disappointed then. But I'm not gonna get disappointed ahead of the fact. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. So without further ado, assuming that Paramount Plus actually works on this, because I've never actually streamed anything from Paramount Plus, let's get right into the new series, Halo. Episode 1 is entitled Contact, so I guess we're gonna jump right into humanity's first interaction with the Covenant. Stream quality is garbage.
Spartans aren't human.
I don't know if that's because I'm not on the expensive tier or
They
what.
won't be stopped. They just keep on killing without mercy. Till there's nothing left to kill.
Alright, that was effective. I'm a big fan of show don't tell, but that was
You in
actually
or out?
Magical. The galaxy's highest concentration of heavy hydrogen. Power your ships and power your drugs. Yeah. See you on the other side.
I think I probably would have started with this scene. I mean, she has more feel of a main character
Where are you
vibe,
going?
Off the plot her scope.
and we could have explained the stuff with the Spartans just by showing the Spartans in action, you know? I'm gonna try not to be too nitpicky. I know you guys don't like it when I get too nitpicky. It's just hard sometimes, like, it's like, I've watched a shit ton of stuff, and I write myself, so it's sometimes difficult for me not to just sort of think about how I would have done it, what might have been more economical in terms of storytelling. I have to say, so far, it doesn't look bad.
Where have you been?
Looks like they spent some money.
Why? What's going
There's a
on?
ship out there. No, I'm serious. Come on, Fuzz. I'm kidding.
Alrighty. Yeah, they definitely should have started here. Really sets the tone. Oh my god. I was not expecting them to go there. I think Magical was in one of the books and mentioned in one of the games. But I think I remember it being a shield world. It's pretty much what I expect first contact with an aggressive alien interstellar species to go like. Alright. I think the elites look pretty good for the most part. Yeah, or. That was definitely one for the game, fans. Man, they are not holding back on the brutality of war right now. I'm digging it. Get away from the wall, kid. So, this feels consistent with how the Covenant operated. This definitely seems like the behavior of a group of people who believe your destruction is the will of the gods, and we are their instrument. Oh, that's an entrance. 117, do your duty. Okay. Giving us a little bit of a way to know how much history has already happened, so to speak. Because they've already given them the name Demon. Okay, so this is gonna sound a little odd, but CGI-wise, the Spartans actually look a little weirder than the elites. Because they're definitely using some sort of CGI on them to kind of, I guess, demonstrate the difference in speed and strength from them and a normal human. But it looks a little odd, and I think it's probably because we, in our minds, we know what it looks like when normal humans move. And so seeing something that looks exactly like a human form move in this weird accelerated kind of way triggers the uncanny valley for us. And the show's doing a good job of making me feel actually tense. Like I still don't really know much about these people, but I actually do seem to be giving a fuck about what happens to them. Because I can like feel my tension ever since the moment that the kids first came under fire. Yeah, they need to work on the movement of the Spartans. That was cool though. Having him do the same thing most of us did during the game, use our shields to soak up some damage, then hide for a moment while it regenerates. There's been a bunch of stuff already in this episode that's designed specifically to be like little nods and callbacks to stuff from the games. That's saying it. All those kids massacred.
Vanya.
Yeah, you're about to die.
No.
Shoot him.
No!
Yeah, the elites look fantastic. It's really weird. I didn't expect the thing that would look strange to be the Spartans. Like, he looked fine in that part, and he looks fine here. It's when they have him do something really, really acrobatic, he looks weird.
20 elite warriors killed, 150 civilians, no survivors.
Wait!
Correction, 1 survivor, female, juvenile.
Wait, don't just scream!
You see what I mean about how they didn't need that scene at the very beginning? Because his behavior just now told us everything else we needed to know about Spartans. So was that the hook? Oh, there's the theme. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that's a cool opener. I like the idea of it, like how they're, you know, almost like he's being buried. Oh, that weirdly made me tear up a little bit. Strange. Guess there's something for seeing something you never thought you'd see. Yeah, poor thing just lost everything. She's already actually coping better than I expected, because a lot of people would just be completely locked down by shock. Ah, there's my baby! At least I think that's my baby. It looks like the combat rifle. Or battle rifle, I should say. Still love that fucking thing. My preferred loadout was always the battle rifle and the needler. As I could use the battle rifle from like a distance, ping off their health, then hit them with a bunch of needler rounds real quick, run right past them. So needler has a delayed reaction kind of thing, and usually kill them.
Local 312 Tango, Film Echo.
Those and plasma grenades, they're your best friends. Notice that musical cue? That was clever.
Forces appear to be excavating for some kind of object.
Reclaimer! I guess it's a good thing he decided not to just open fire, huh? Oh! Interesting. So I wonder if that was his childhood or if that was his Gios. Okay, you should be dead. Those things weigh like a ton. And he was pumping. He was moving hard. Well, shit, you guys fucked this one up. So I guess the active 360 radar is not going to be a thing in the show. So I'm guessing it's because he wants to save the room for the civilian. He's planning on evacuating her. Breach! Oh, fuck. Wasn't expecting us to get
Security
to see
access,
Reach this
Dr.
early.
Catherine Halsey. John recovered something on Madrigal. Possibly Covenant.
We'll add it to our collection.
No. This is different.
Seems a bit out of character for Halsey to call him John when talking to someone else. So she usually uses their names only with
We've been fighting these
when
alien
talking to
creatures for years
them.
and we still have no idea what they want, where to find them, or how to beat them. Commando Note 1
It's actually one of my favorite
If
character
that
traits of
object
hers, how she can
can
always
tell
tell
us
which
anything
Spartan
about
she's
them, I
talking
have
to,
a
no matter what
feeling
armor they
the
wear.
committee's concern about dead rebels will go away. Catherine, your genius has given us so much to be thankful for. Channel that genius appropriately and legally. Get rid of that and any others. Clear?
Is it Cortana?
Clear. I've given you a long lead, Doctor. Don't hang me with it.
Halsey will kill you if necessary. That woman is ruthless. That looks like an actual... Oh, no, yep. This is Cortana, all right. Or at least what will become Cortana. Okay, I definitely wasn't expecting us to get to High Charity in the first episode.
ای تو جنگای خوجیدی بنی مدورگانی خلوگت سو خیجه
گای خوشیدی بنی جود سوچی
جماسی قویه
این تنج آدم خشنگوشی تخچوتا
They shouldn't have included her in the trailer. This would have been a major surprise for everyone watching this to see a human face just now.
خواه بجنگنی
So yeah, every Covenant race I've seen so far looks great. Really, I can't get over the fact that the jankiest CGI thing so far has been the Spartans, the human characters. Well, okay, more than human, but still, that's weird. Okay, so no, this type of ship definitely had room for more than 2 people.
How are you feeling?
How are you?
The ship say
Miranda
hi.
Keys.
Oh, it's Miranda.
I'm talking to
Hey!
you from the
What's up,
UN
Captain?
headquarters on Reach.
So sorry for your loss, Quan.
We've seen your Spartan propaganda broadcasts. You think the outer colonies don't see through that? And when they hear my version, you can forget about unity or whatever.
Keys is
Those
like
other
a
colonies are gonna run from the UNSC as
like a
fast
black
as they can.
or Hispanic Carrie Fisher.
What is it you want?
Kind of amazing how much her facial structure is like a young Carrie Fisher.
Independence for Madrigal. That's what my dad wanted.
Independence for a colony of one person.
That's what I want.
So I guess Chief just wanted some alone time to think and to contemplate what happened when he touched the icon.
What kind of things?
Okay, so it's definitely his childhood.
A family.
Some good acting. I love the stress he put on family, like he broke a little bit when he said the word. It would have been nice to have had him feel a little taller, but I understand the limitations of things like that. If you guys ever see Forward Under Dawn, I think they did a fantastic job in that of like really showing the scale of the Spartans. Is this was the Admiral Keys?
Heard you play politician today with a rebel girl.
Selling Dr. Halsey's Spartans to a rebel of all people. As if Halsey would ever do a thing to promote me.
That's not entirely
Please
fair.
don't defend her. She's done nothing but throw roadblocks in my way.
It's nothing personal.
Nothing personal isn't a great excuse when it's your mom.
Okay. So I think we're
You
combining
are a
some
lot
characters. Because I
mean
think
that as a compliment.
in the source material, Dr.
Anyway.
Halsey had a daughter separate from Keys.
I'm guessing the
I
UNSC
don't
isn't about to
think
grant
Keys was her
Madrigal
daughter in the
complete
source material.
independence.
But who knows? I haven't read
So what happens
all
now
the
to the
lore,
girl?
so might have missed that.
That's what I came over here to tell you. Cortana was badly wounded in the air attack on Madrigal. Despite our best efforts, she succumbed to her injuries.
Well, it's an Article 72. We're murdering a teenage girl. I'm complicit.
We're in a war, Miranda. The future of humanity.
Point in saving humanity if we're gonna give up our own.
Sometimes you have to make hard choices to get good results.
It's hard to believe she made it all the way to captain with without
like
being
Halsey.
okay with things like this. At least in the current mindset of the UNSC.
You don't eat?
Didn't see anything I liked.
What is it you like?
Nuts. Bolts. Microchips.
That was a joke.
Yeah, no, I've gathered. Hilarious.
That was cool, actually. Seeing that he at least attempts to have humor, he just is really terrible at
All my
it.
diagnostic command and control systems run through here.
You know we've actually met before today.
When was this?
When you killed my mother, outer colonists getting together to talk about how the UNSC was stripping us of all our natural resources. But before they got into all that, you and 3 other Spartans showed up, responding to an insurrectionist bomb threat. But see, that never made much sense, because why
would insurrectionists blow up a meeting for insurrectionists?
Yeah.
We were ordered to eliminate the organizer. And the orders changed.
To what?
The assembled were deemed an imminent threat.
My mom seems like an imminent threat to you?
What I can see on the ground may not reflect the entirety of the situation.
What does that mean?
Sometimes others know things I do not.
It ever occurred to you that it might work the other way around?
Then you question everything.
And someone told you that's bad?
For a soldier, that can be
Of course they did.
dangerous. It's hard to strike a
Can't turn around
balance
without staring
between
at an uplink about humanity's best weapon.
being like able to follow orders, but also being able to question whether those orders make sense, are ethical, legal. I like the suggestion in that conversation of the fact that he has been thinking about whether his orders made sense before now.
Ship's oxygen levels dropping.
Quan.
He's trying to make it seem like he killed her so that he could say that he achieved the objective.
He's unconscious.
I thought his suit had its own oxygen supply.
If he's unconscious, how come he's opening panels in the ship?
What's in A16?
Atmosphere controls.
Oxygen levels are returning to normal.
Scramble everyone to landing bay. Full foreign protocol.
Due respect, we are talking about our most important military asset.
We're not taking any chances.
Let me investigate. I'll speak to John, and whatever influences objects.
Question one more order, Doctor. And you can watch from your lab.
It seems like an overreaction, lady. Granted, it is the chief. he has proven quite capable, so... So one thing I've noticed so far is I haven't seen any use of slipstream. So, how are they traveling? It'll take a very long time to get from Madrigal to Reach in normal sublight travel. That was pretty cool. They did a good job with the Spartan armor up.
Quan,
Don't move.
you're gonna need to listen to me.
What did you do to me? Stop messing with that
Honey, the
stuff.
recoil on that thing will probably
not me.
tear your arm off.
Why should I trust you?
It was not designed for
Trying to
normal
get
humans.
control of the
I
flight.
will kill you.
This is Mark 6 Mjolnir armor. The outer layer is enhanced titanium. You won't even dent it.
So I'm guessing this is the main thing that people had an issue with. Oh, they didn't keep the ginger hair.
If you
I
want me dead,
thought this actor had ginger hair.
you'll need to aim up here.
Get me thermal imaging on the condor.
So it's a little too bad they couldn't make him super pale, because he really should be super pale. Because he never takes off the helmet, basically.
So what now?
We need to work fast.
Master Chief, please tell me I have a plan.
Oh, there's my battle rifle. I hope they kept his first encounter. Oh, okay. Interesting. Oh, so that's how they're gonna do it. Okay.
What did you just do?
Switching to auxiliary power.
This is definitely a different timeline. So rather than the, what was it, the Enamber-clad being the ship that goes to to Halo, was it Alpha Halo? I forget which Halo was the actual designation, but it's going to end up being taken there by instructions uploaded. This Pelican's going to go there by instructions uploaded. But, well, that's not a Pelican, that's a, what's it, it's a Saber? Yeah, you guys can roast me for forgetting which ships are which, but, like, I'm guessing that basically it just got instructions uploaded telling it how to get to the Halo installation. Still haven't seen Slipstream, so I don't know how they're going to do that. Man, Paramount, fuck you in commercials, man. What the hell? They put a commercial break before the end credits. That's a greedy motherfucking company right there. Oh, Greedy motherfucking company. So yeah, my first thoughts are mixed bag. I definitely see why it's dividing people, but I don't think it was bad. You know, it's just different. They're definitely telling a different story that's based on Halo rather than telling the story from the games. You know what I mean? I'm intrigued so far, and I think that's a good sign. I am very curious to see exactly how they're going to remix all of this stuff, because that's definitely what's happening right now. We still seem to have the major elements. You know, we've got the icon, we've got I think we still have the Gios, because otherwise why would his younger self have been drawing pictures of the icon? We still have the issues, and actually I think they're bringing this more to the forefront than the games did, the issues with the ethics and morality of the Spartan program, because of course they were originally created to be wielded against humans that the official government saw as problematic. And I like the idea that Chief has been questioning his orders for a while, even though of course his conditioning still meant that he went ahead and, you know, carried them out, regardless of whether he personally had questions about why he was doing what he was doing. For me, honestly, there are only two complaints I really have. Well, three. There's a little bit of yada yada, which a lot of series seem to have these days, where you just sort of like don't quite tell you how something is happening. Like for instance, Chief's what the hell are those things called? It's a longbow.
Pay attention.
Because it's not a pelican. That wasn't a pelican. It was that one that's like a special fast attack variant. It's similar to a pelican, but it's like designed to be faster. I think maybe it is a longbow. We got no information as to how he was crossing the interstellar distance between Madrigal and Reach. Maybe that's one of those things that we're supposed to put into the, you know, Mystery Science Theater 3000 mantra category, but that's always difficult for me. I'm a little bit of a stickler for that kind of stuff, and I expect to see how you're doing that. Especially when every shot you show me appears to show the ship traveling at regular sublight speeds in regular space. That I'm like, that trip would have taken decades, if not more, you know. So, but that's I guess a relatively minor nitpick. A bigger one is we got a few too many scenes of overt exposition. And when you're in a visual medium, you always want to take advantage of your opportunities to show instead of tell. I will stand by this assessment for this episode that they should have started with the first scene we saw with Quan and her friends out foraging for plants that they could use to get high off of. That was a really good introduction to her character, a really good introduction to, you know, Madrigal as a whole. We could tell that they weren't rich. We could tell that they had a lifestyle that involved, you know, manual labor. And we could tell a lot about Juan's character from that scene. And then having it immediately interrupted by an absolutely brutal Covenant attack. That was very effective. And we could have had just like the fear of the colonists when they realized that a UNSC transport was also showing up, to underscore for those unfamiliar just how afraid the average person out in the colonies is of the UNSC and of Spartans in particular. And that actually brings me to what I think is actually one of the things that was probably the biggest problem for me in the episode, which is just that the Spartans look janky in motion. It's really weird. And I'm pretty sure I know why. Like I commented on it earlier. I think it was an effort to demonstrate their enhanced physicality, but it just looks weird. And I don't know if it looks weird because they didn't animate it well, or if it looks weird because, as I'm, considered earlier, we are being sort of shoved into the uncanny valley by seeing what looks like a human move in ways that we intellectually know humans don't move in, like that level of speed and, athleticism. If the show continues on past this season, because I expect they probably don't correct it by the end of the season, but if it does get a second season, I really hope they focus on that. I think part of the key is figuring out tricks you can use to do it all in camera, rather than using any CG enhancement for it. I thought all the Covenant races we saw looked fucking fantastic, in my opinion. Like they were well lit, which is always a challenge when you're doing full CG characters. But I believe them. They only had like a very slight quality of not being quite real, which again is something that I think will probably get enhanced over time as they just sort of nail that down. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that sort of thing, but I thought they looked great, all in balance. This is definitely, I think the big thing to enjoy this series is we're going to have to let go of the existing canon we have in our heads in terms of like, the overall narrative flow, like this happened and this happened and this happened. Because and I'll give them credit for this. They came right out of the gate basically showing us this is not the game's canon. And I think that was them telling us, look, don't expect to see this unfold the same way it did in the games. These are the same characters, it's the same universe basically, and it's probably the same overall story. But the way we're going to be getting from point A to point B to point C, etc., is going to be different. And so we're just putting our cards on the table right off the bat. And I think that's also one of the reasons why they chose to have Chief take his helmet off so early. I was fully expecting him to take his helmet off at some point in the story. I was prepared for that. I wasn't expecting it to be in the first episode, just like I wasn't expecting to see High Charity in the first episode. But I think they really wanted to get it out of the way so that we could get over the shock of seeing a helmetless Chief. And personally, I think that the way that they did it worked well with the story they appear to be telling. If you accept the helmet as a symbol of his inhumanity, then taking it off under these circumstances is like a sign that he's starting to reconnect with his humanity. So yeah, I don't think that there was only really one performance that felt, two performances that felt a little off to me, and they were the performance of the leader. I always forget her name because I think she actually was a character from the games and the other extended lore, who Halsey constantly had issues with. But she felt a little, I don't know, stiff to me, and Captain Keyes felt a little light, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain that. She didn't convey to me a captain's level of experience and poise, if that makes sense. I'm hoping that was just because the scenes we've seen her in so far were designed to put the character on a back foot, because things were not going the way she expected or wanted them to, and that we'll see more of the steel in her spine sort of come out through her performance as we move on, because Keyes definitely was someone who felt like, someone who had a lot of inner strength, but yeah, I'm personally, on balance, I think this pilot I don't know why I call things pilots anymore. They're not really pilots, they're first episodes. But I think this premiere did its job more than it failed to do its job. There are definitely some things that need to be improved, but on balance, I enjoyed it, and I am curious to see where they go. Let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments below. Let me know your speculation, how you think we're going to diverge in this new silver timeline. And what do you think is going to be the backstory of the apparently human woman who is, from what looks like it, leading the Covenant, not just with the Covenant? And that in and of itself is also extremely interesting. And do you think that I'm right that the icon basically somehow programmed the I think it is a longbow.
No.
to tell it how to get to the Halo installation. And give me all your thoughts, positive, negative, angry, otherwise. We'll talk about it, because I definitely am here to help you deal with adaptation changes, because I think a lot of times, we just have a knee-jerk reaction to something just being different. And once we really think it through, talk it out, we can see, reasons for the changes, and they become more acceptable. But who knows? I mean, your mileage may vary. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for joining me. Don't forget, I now have a Patreon. It's at patreon.com/reverseblt. There are no tiers. Anything that you can give, if you're so inclined, will help the channel. I really appreciate it. And there are some, over time, I'm going to be rolling out more and more benefits to my patrons. Like, for instance, this week's The Witcher premiered 2 days early on Patreon for those who have been kind enough to pledge. And I will be doing that with other shows going forward. Basically, on Patreon, when I get done editing a show and put it up on YouTube, it's going to immediately go up on Patreon, regardless of when the official drop date is on YouTube. But things that are showing up, sort of live, so to speak, so like things like Halo, Moon Knight, etc., those will have premieres, but they won't obviously go up early on Patreon because that's not possible. But they will all be, at least the premiere episodes will be premieres, and the finale episodes will be premieres on YouTube. But everything else will just be, it'll go live on the day. I am thinking I might do some live chats after some of these episodes, but it all depends on schedule. I have to obviously have time to do all this stuff, so I can't do everything. But anyway, it was a little bit of a tangent. As always, I go off on these tangents. The main point is, Patreon members will have some benefits as I am able to roll them out. There will be other ones in the future, and I will let you know what they will be as I get to the point where I can actually roll them out. But right now, pay what you want if you want to pay it. That's really all it is. And like I said, I really appreciate it because it helps me keep the lights on. So, advertisement over. At least you guys didn't have to sit through all the ads that Paramount Plus made me sit through with me. Speaking of ads. But anyway, guys, I'm starting to ramble, as tends to happen at the end. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign off. Do me a favor, as always, and do your best to stay safe and be well. And I will see you for next week of football.